We also want to get Chris's thoughts on the Mario movie trailer that officially finally dropped yesterday. I know that's not normally something we cover here on the YouTube side of things, but I'm a huge Mario fan. In fact, I'm such a huge Mario fan. I actually love the original movie, but that's just probably my copium when it came down to being a kid.
I think I owned it on, I guess VHS would have been the format.
Yeah.
And then we found it in the $5 bin on DVD in college and bought it. And that time we made a drinking game out of it.
Oh, genius. That's the adult way to enjoy it. As a kid, I was all
the
about
drinking
it.
game,
Yeah.
we found that like if you pick a rule and you say like, hey, every time they say this word, you have to drink, then it's like, well, then you're the only person enforcing against you. No. 4 of us, we each pick a word, and if your word comes up, everybody but you drinks. So now when your word comes up, you're shouting it. I will tell you, none of us remembered the word selections, and there's weird words. They don't like the word that we should have picked was dinosaur. Somebody would have died.
Somebody would have been
3 people actually would have died.
A lot of dinosaurs in that movie. Dinosaur. Oh man. And then also today on the show, we want to talk about new worlds, territory changes, and fresh start worlds. So we've got a lot of details about that. Some frequently asked questions from the player base. If you guys aren't aware, I am a absolute huge new world simp. I'm not going to deny that fact. I really, really do love that game. And so today, just alone, if you're watching this in real time or listening to this as a VOD, we have this is a content creation a megathon of a day. Tonight is the live letter where we're going to see more about the Criterion Dungeons for Final Fantasy. So hopefully you guys want to join us live for that. But Chris is going to be live streaming some 14 over on Twitch. So if you want to join him after this. First time Ninja.
Summoner story.
Ooh, all right.
The
Summoner stories are, I really appreciate the Summoner story.
My story character's going to hit Omni 50 today.
Woohoo. Man, lots of good progress there, dude. At some point, you're going to have 2 Omni 90s, and I'm going to be like, I got one. I'm 8 levels away.
7.0.
Yeah, I'm 8 levels away from hitting Omni 90 myself, and so I'm just kind of chipping away at that. Hopefully, we'll get that knocked out soon enough. And then beyond that, tonight, at 4 o'clock p.m. Central, I'll be live playing New World as a part of our New World community night on Twitch. After that, we're going to just transition right back into you taking over the stream, covering the live letter on Twitch. We're here live as well. So this is buckle up, guys. I hope you like, Ginger and the and the Daywalker. We'll just rebrand our channel right now, and our coverage, because it's going to be a good time all around. So, first topic, I think the best topic to kind of kick this off with, so we don't keep everybody in anticipation. The Mario movie trailer dropped. I felt like this has been teased out it feels like years at this point, where it's like, okay, why isn't there a trailer? But we finally got the first official trailer, the first official sound of Chris Pratt voicing Mario, the iconic character. What did you think overall of the presentation? Do you have any kind of positive and negative takeaways? What do you think?
I think video game movies are hard.
Have you seen any of the Sonic ones?
No.
Okay. I think Sonic really set the high bar.
Video game movies are perfect for airplanes when they're free on a screen 8 inches from my face, and the alternative is looking around in a dark room full of strangers. Like that's when I watch video game movies. I'm saying that I own the Warcraft movie, like on my phone. Like I bet it's downloaded right now, just in case I'm somewhere without
internet. You're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's in company with I bet I have 4 Guy Ritchie films on here, like real cinema, as opposed to, yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'm not expecting it to be amazing. It doesn't look like it's going to be an utter disaster. So where I like things to be is above an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes, or below a 20. Okay. Just don't land in the middle. Anything above an 80 is a good film. Anything below a 20, I can get a bowl of popcorn and I can find joy in the fact that somebody put that out.
Mm-hmm.
It's when they're in the middle and you're like, I don't hate it. I don't love it. You just took my time. So as long as it's above or below, we're good. Looks like it'll be on the above end. That's fine.
I'm day and date when that thing comes out with the kids. Like I literally will be like, let's go. I don't care how old you are, we're gonna go see this movie, because like I've been excited about it because in my mind, like as an adult, even though like I said in the pre-show that I actually really loved the original Mario movie, and as a kid was devastated that they never followed it up from the end of the movie teaser. And it's like, okay, like let's go. And then it was like, oh yeah, apparently like critically panned. I'm not the guy you go to movie reviews ever. Like my people say I'm overly positive and when it to video games, and that pales in comparison. Like I would like people, you would consider me toxic if you think about just how I'm like, yeah, that movie was great. They're like, Brian, that movie was garbage. Like, I don't know. I was entertained for 2 hours. I love movies in that way. So that's the relationship. So when it comes down to it, like, I think as an adult, like it has to be better than the original Mario. Like you kind like this is a smart 20-year plan, like come out with a movie that you never follow it up with, and then eventually like release like this really kick-ass animated Mario movie. So I'm personally very excited for it. And the question then would be to you though, is that if it's successful, do we see a Legend of Zelda? Like, do you think we start to see more Nintendo franchises start to go into this
so
style?
Chris Pratt feels like an odd Mario choice.
Really? I thought he did good. He had one line.
Okay,
like,
great.
Oh, yeah.
But it still seems like if you just said, who would you pick for Mario voice? Chris Pratt doesn't feel like one that anybody would name offhand. So, who is equally unlikely, but you think would do surprisingly well at being Link?
Oh, a Link character that would be... you'd want to...
You think they do a great job? Like, let's assume Chris Pratt does it, nails it.
Yeah.
You think they do a great job, but you're like, really?
See here, Link. I think
I've got mine.
I think it, in a way, wouldn't The Rock be just absolute perfection?
He'd be a great villain.
He could be a great villain. He could be, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like, let's make it happen, internet. Like let this show be the origin of Rock, Rock Link, hashtag Rock Link. Let's go, chat. I'm not joking. But Chris Chili Demon says Tom Hiddleston. Tom would be fantastic. Or you could also think, who's Spider-Man? Tom Holland.
Tom Holland was who I was picturing.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, we got
Tom.
We got
Tom Cruise is Link.
Just a Tom or a Chris, and you're gonna be good.
Any Tom will do.
Any Tom or Chris Pine.
Any Tom or Chris.
Yeah.
Just shove him
Chris
in
Evans. There.
Yeah. It'd be great. It's a whole. Actually, just cast the whole thing with Toms and Chris's.
Yeah, Tom. It's the Tom and Chris show. In fact, I'm gonna rename my name to Tom.
There's bound to be a brilliant voice actor somewhere out there for the princess with a Chris name.
Yeah,
Chris can be female.
There's got to be.
I haven't met a female Tom, but they're probably out there.
We get Asmongold, get them going, get them casted in there. So we're fan casting the Nintendo movies, etc. I've enjoyed
maybe young Link is Tom Cruise and adult Link is Chris Evans.
Oh, Ganondorf could be the Rock. Like he would make a perfect Ganondorf.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, so let's support the Mario movie, guys.
But if you're gonna go, guys, if you're gonna go see in the theaters, you want to go with somebody like Brian. I surround myself with people who are just giant nerds about things because if I'm gonna watch a football game, I don't watch a lot of football. I'm gonna watch a football game. I have my buddy growing up and Brian's brother are both huge football fans, and those are the two people I want in the room. Mm-hmm. Like you want to be surrounded by people that are like nerding out.
Yeah,
they're passionate.
Julie described going
Brian
to the movies.
He's like a simp for New World, and he's simply like I have never known Brian to be a partial fan of anything.
No, it's all in
is
or all
either
out.
Totally apathetic, I don't care, you do you, or he is a hardcore can do no wrong fan. That's it. So just know that if Brian ever turns on Final Fantasy 14, it's dead to him. There's no in between.
There's no salvation for this game.
That's it.
It's been ruined. How have you hurt her
and
so
he
bad?
Will cry in the YouTube video.
Oh yeah, big crier. Yeah, big crier. I think as I've gotten and had more kids, like it's like you definitely get a little bit softer with age, in that regard.
I don't have kids and I cry more.
Well, I think that also just happens to men as their testosterone drops.
Not to just eat red meat 3 meals a day or cry.
Apparently you need to follow what The Rock is doing, literally, where he's like taking like artificial testosterone. I don't know if that's going to end badly.
He's in his 50s and his T levels Like his muscle growth is bigger than he was in his 20s when he was a professional wrestler. There is no way that he's not on at least HRT, just hormone replacement therapy, which is not uncommon. It just hormone replacement therapy gets like, oh, dismissed as like, oh, it's natural, so therefore it's not modification. But like when you go in, it's like plastic surgery. You're getting to pick how much replacement they do, which means you can go back and say like, well, here's the range of guys. Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
And guys, hormones go through cycles just like women's. And the thing about HRT is they don't go through cycles anymore. Like they can just pin it. And so like he is having the best day in the gym all the time. So there's no way he's not on HRT.
Oh,
I have no proof of that.
Oh, I think that's a fact. I thought it was actually confirmed that he is in that regards. And
He
I was like,
implies that you can just like drink his Zoa energy drink and work hard and be like 280 pounds at 1% body fat. Like, no, you can't. And he's
make blockbuster
he's
blockbuster after blockbuster movie. It would be brought in to help save franchises. Absolutely. The
he maintains it year round. It's not like he's peaking.
David says Brian saw the light in Anthem, which says a lot. It was the fact that that EA canceled it on their birthday. Yeah, like that was the problem. Like my issue with Anthem wasn't that there was potential, and it was like they were putting together a plan to work on it, which I was like, let's go, because I believe that any game that has a core hook that has like, okay, there's something really cool here. Okay, it just needs to be polished and refined and etc. That gamers will give another chance if content, communication, and having some kind of consistent plan in that regards. But Anthem was not. They did not communicate. They stopped communicating. They had no consistency. And then on their birthday,
about all their content.
And then they didn't have any content. And then on the birthday, they decided to call it. They cut it, and that's honestly, I think that hurts EA in terms of them trying to be bought out more than anything. I think if you actually go back and you say that they invested in Anthem, which made them a ton of money. Anthem was one of the top selling games of that year, right? So everybody already had it. If they had invested in it, I think they probably would have already been acquired by now, because I don't think all these acquisitions are all like, oh, good, you have this franchise that, you know, makes a little bit of money, you know. But I think that essentially we see more and more people going after this, you know, this mindset of games as service.
Shorts? Is that what we're doing? Are we just did a second short topic?
Yeah.
All right. So
it's a live show. Everybody tunes in for that.
So okay. So on the subject of Anthem and making that an interesting thing about prep, I will tell you that Blizzard deciding to create back-end controller support as a proof of concept, but not rolling it as a mainline forward-facing feature.
Yeah.
Before Microsoft announced that they were acquiring, feels like those talks were already happening.
Oh yeah.
They just said, could your game even be supported on controller? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, prove it. And then they did, but they didn't make it like it's like a console command type thing. It feels like they were doing it to show they could.
Have you seen all the latest stuff from Dragonflight with like they're actually adding in the buttons and stuff like that for the controllers themselves? For World of Warcraft?
But they're not making it like a mainline feature, which tells me they don't actually want to do it. So why would they do it? Because they want to be able to do it should the leadership direction decide that needs to be a mainline feature.
I think it's such a process, because WoW is as old as it is, that it isn't something where like in 14 where it's designed at the very foundation of the game. And when I talk about foundational programming, I think the fact that they've been adding it in these different iterations is that process. We know that it's going to take us, you know, 18, not 18 months, but it's like, it's going to take us like 4 to 6 years to really bring in controller support. What's the best way to do that? Well, step 1, let's put this in. This step 2, with also the targeting changes, like the literal problem that I ran into, and this honestly might be a reason why I jump back in with Dragonflight.
Whoa. Because I would like to pull up Webster real quick and define. Brian's going to jump back into WoW.
In terms of
he's done this before,
right? Well, yeah, I'm not not gonna main one. I'm saying that in terms of no, never. But it's like in terms of the like the targeting, some of the critical components that I struggled with in the last iteration with controller support that I was working on is like there's no like in target like 14. I press A and it targets whatever. Like it's smart targeting, and it's had that, and it's been great. In fact, when people are like, oh, there's so many people around this NPC whenever there's a patch, I'm like, I'm a controller, just press A, it's handled. So it's an easy thing in 14, and then bringing that in, like iterative, like where when we start to talk about like the video we talked about with 11.0, literally I was like, yeah, they could have controller support really baked in by then, which is about 6 years, which makes sense if you're starting from phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then essentially you start releasing it and opening it up to console. That would be, I think, a real big win for World of Warcraft. Like if people want to kick back and play it like that in that style.
It feels like they're prepping it to go into Game Pass. It feels like everything they're doing, when you look at the way and some of the things need to be done anyway. Yeah. The new player experience need to be redone regardless.
Right.
But when you look at possibly a resetting of the lore, when you look at adding controller support, when you look at continuing to roll things kind of, classic in that subscription, like whether they are doing it for themselves or they are doing it for Game Pass, it is way better aligned. So when you talk about EA making themselves harder to purchase with their choices with Anthem, as much as people rag on Blizzard, they are primed to slide into Microsoft's ecosystem. I don't know if the rest of Activision is equally primed.
Yeah.
But like
they have
a lot of it, I think they want to leave King crushing like they do. I think they want to leave COD cross-platform.
Yeah.
PlayStation was like, oh my gosh, now they're gonna mess with COD. Oh, you mean like you do with your like exclusive, like PlayStation gets 2 extra classes for the first for the first year. It's an annualized franchise.
It's a very like
the only thing that's going to change is that PlayStation's no longer going to get exclusives from COD. Like that, it's less exclusive.
I think they have to though. Like this is where back into the like as we talk about this specific thing, when you start to look at how like Game Pass numbers are falling, one of the things is that content is king, and Game Pass requires a big sense of that content, right? And so all of a sudden, if they had it to where World of Warcraft and maybe ESO Plus, like if all of a sudden these were just value added, then you're starting to pick up those subscriptions, and it essentially pads that number for you as a company. Because if they're coming out like they got 20 million subs right now, I think it's down from 25. But the goal is that you need that flow of it, and so I think honestly, that could be on the table if numbers continue to dip after the acquisition, where it's like, well, like, let's go ahead and just add this in as that value added service. Guess what? It's now on console, or, and then boom, boom, boom. And imagine that. Like, I think that's where you then have ESO, which already has console and controller support. The weakness of ESO is it does not have at least cross save. Like I can understand people's hesitancy on cross progression, but anybody's like, hey, why don't you come play ESO? And it's like, I have a character on console. I don't want to start over. Like that, we'll talk about it with the fresh start servers. Everybody's like, you gonna do fresh start servers? I'm not a multi-character guy in these games. Like I'm not gonna just start over for the hell of it. Like I'm not sitting on endless amounts of time that I can sit here and then say, yeah, let me just do that again.
Yeah, I think Game Pass is going through a same growth phase that like Netflix and these streaming platforms did, where they kind of hit a lull where like they were new, and so everything was exciting, but then they couldn't keep up with the pace that we consumed. And MMOs run into the same issue, so it's a natural life cycle. When Game Pass first came out, I feel like I would look at the number of games I was interested in, and they wouldn't all fit on my hard drive.
Yeah,
and so I'd have to prune down before I even installed them all, just to then try them, and then of course uninstall the ones I don't like. Now I feel like I can go through and I can just hit install on everything I'm interested in, then try them, and then uninstall the ones that don't fit. And the fact that they fit, like, that's because there's less of them. I'm only interested in 4 or 5 titles at a time. And so I can see how there are players who probably hop on and they scroll through it. And it's like when you're changing the channel and you got 700 channels, you're like, there's nothing on because nothing fits you. And so like, yeah, there's 700 channels, but it doesn't fit you. And so the answer to that for Netflix was to start crushing Netflix originals and just cranking a huge variety of Netflix originals out. And that feels like that's what, and that was a lot of making your own studios from the ground up. That was a lot of buying their own studios. And that feels like that's what Xbox is doing. When you think about Phil Spencer saying his competition are companies like Google and companies like it's not PlayStation.
Maybe not Google anymore.
But that's what he's doing. He's got to build that backlog of content. I mean, Apple Plus has run into the same issue. You finish Ted Lasso, you finish, a couple of these really great shows they have, and then you just kind of run out.
Yeah, Apple Plus is the biggest mystery to me because you're right. Like I like Ted Lasso, I like Mythic Quest.
All right, another one I really enjoyed.
But regardless, it's like I'm like are they going to acquire, companies? Like if anybody was going to acquire, like when we look at just Warner Brothers and that whole like kerfuffle that's going on right now in HBO Max, in my mind, it's between Amazon and Apple to try and acquire that. Like I don't know if Disney has the funds and money and stuff like that, but imagine Disney owning both Marvel and DC
and Fox,
and well,
like at a certain point, Disney.
Right. At some point, we're all working for Amazon, Apple, or Disney. It's like, all right, what's your representation?
Yeah. No. At the rate we're going, you need to look at what you spend your most time watched on and realize that your passport's going to read that name instead of a country.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's where we're headed.
I'm a part of this family. We're a family. Whenever a company says we're a family, I'm like, that is such bullshit. Like, just absolute crap. I can't fire my brother. We're like, anyway, that's just something that's a pet peeve of mine in business. Anyway, so like on that note though, it's like with like all of the content is king, and I'm just like with all of these different services, at some point like they scale, and I think they all fold within themselves. EA is one of them. They were trying to bolster their service. Now that's actually rolled into Game Pass. They were also trying to look in the cloud. Now they're trying to look at getting acquired. And they have some like iconic IP, but a lot of their IP has been based off of just being a dirty, jerk. I'm trying not to curse too much in the welcome to the morning where Brian decides to swear constantly. Where they've locked out of innovation, where they've locked down the NFL, where they locked down FIFA, where they locked down with these exclusivity contracts, which drove a lot of value. So business wise, it was the right call for them, but ultimately for the industry itself, I don't think they actually have generated like real wealth in terms of like that value. Those values were based off those relationships. They were losing
Star Wars, and they put out like their best Star Wars title in forever. Just like that threat of competition.
It turns out
already.
Yeah, turns out it's a good thing. Respawn also is like one of their like I think high value, IPs, and that's where it's like if anything, it was like it'd be like who wants to have a battle royale in their pocket, being especially that Halo seems to be taking their time with theirs or they're just struggling with that as a franchise. So content's king. I think that's obviously Halo, and their delays in their games have hurt them. I think World of Warcraft with that acquisition, if it does decide to come to console, would be a big win for console players, but I would still argue that should come to PlayStation. Like I still think that the best thing they could do for Halo is bring it to PlayStation. Like I don't
Halo Infinite?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not the best thing to do. The best thing to do is finish releasing maps. In November, in theory, we're moving into having like one Halo. New map, and maybe there was Forge in that update, or maybe we have to wait until 2027.
The beta
Halo
for Forge,
Infinite is outrageous.
Yeah,
I cannot believe how much weaker Halo Infinite is than Master Chief or Halo 5. Standalone Halo 5. When you're talking about modes like Super Fiesta, you're talking about modes like SWAT, you're talking about modes like Ranked Slayer, maps, Forge. There's a racing game put out by 343 on a racing map inside Halo 5. Like Halo Infinite is a disgrace to that franchise.
Yeah, the leadership at 343 should be absolutely ashamed, and they need to figure out what the hell's going on with that.
So I don't care where you publish it, finish it,
finish it, and let's go. It sounds like though that some changes are being made. I like Halo. I've been waiting for the multiplayer campaign to actually play the campaign
for like 4 hours this week. Had a blast.
Yeah, shocker.
All right, stop playing Halo Infinite.
That was our smorgasbord of topics, all bundled together. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that either in a form of clip fashion or just chaotic, enjoyment of games and critiques of the system. What's up?
What do Mario, World of Warcraft, and Halo have in common?
Nothing. But we threaded those things together. Thanks, guys, also for the 23 likes on the stream. It's a fantastic way of helping these streams grow. And if you are listening in this as a highlight video, etc., let us know your thoughts on any of the topics. We'd love to hear from you guys on that as well. And hopefully we'll start to bring, I love community feedback.
Welcome to the short reel.
So anyway,